This is Marketing of Today. I'm Cesar. Let's go! What is up, Abdel? We just practiced this, bro, right now, like 3 times. Can you please say your name for the people in the camera?
What's up, guys? Abdel Khawatmi with Got Mortgages.
Thank you so much for being here. You know, like, I feel blessed and humble. And I'm sorry, editor, don't cut this out. Can you bring the mic a little forward? I didn't tell you that.
This?
Yeah, put it like this.
Oh, got it.
You know, a little quick thing. But thank you so much for being in the podcast. You know, we appreciate. Met you a little while back. We started following each other through Instagram because of the content. And then I met you in person out of nowhere. I didn't know you were going to be at the event. But yeah. I hear your message. I hear you educate people. I've been following your page. It's amazing. And you do the best thing because you actually do what I preach. All right, because I'm a marketing company. I do videos, and you do videos, and you do marketing. Yeah. How everything got started, brother?
So, I'm in the world of mortgages, of course. And you know what? Honestly, there's so many great lenders out there. I think I get the question all the time of, you know, what separates you from everybody else? And you know, I always tell people, from programs, credit, qualifications, it's all the same stuff. You know? I
heard that too at the event, which was amazing how you said that.
Yeah, it's the truth. You know, a lot of banks offer very similar stuff. You know, some banks have individual portfolio programs. You know, down payment assistance and stuff like that. But one message that I really kind of wanted to deliver with a lot of my clients was mainly the topic of education and knowledge. And I think a lot of professionals who do it tend to be very successful. And a lot maybe sometimes either don't know the information or really just don't want to take the time. There's no immediate gain.
Got it.
And I built this database, you know, within YouTube, 300 plus videos, throwing a bunch of different Instagrams, keeping them short, content, straight to the point, and educating consumers, those who are brand new in the industry, those who are purchasing those investment properties, second homes, and you know, kind of got a good return on it. So.
I saw that, and you know, the thing is, I feel like a lot of people don't get educated first, right? So it's crazy for me. You know, one of the goals that I have, and let's use this as a storytelling part, right? One of the goals that I have is to create my business big enough where I don't have to be physically present, so I can travel work. And let me explain why. If I move to a rural area, you get tax exempts.
Yeah.
You don't pay taxes yearly. You know, you get to live in a nice house with a lot of land. And, you know, it's not like I'm not a person that likes to, you know, associate with people, but it would be nice to step out of your front door when you live in cities and not hear anything. So that's my goal, right? And it's interesting because learning from mortgages and learning from people like yourself, I figure out that you can actually move to a rural area, no down payment.
Yep, USDA loans.
Literally no taxes, like or if taxes is like $1,000, and if you buy a pig, you can accept the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different programs, right? You know, the USDA loan is pretty much the one that you're referring to, which is with the Department of Agriculture Section 502 loan. You can put 0% down.
The dude even's telling codes up in here. He's even giving us codes.
You know, I think you know, I mentioned it before. I also own and operate a mortgage licensing school too. So a lot of that kind of roots into it too, because I think what a lot of professionals like all of us tend to sometimes forget the basics.
Yeah.
And you know, we start throwing in our own personal spin, which allows us to be successful. But then we sometimes forget what brought us to success in the first place. And, you know, it really keeps me humbled when I still remember teaching new people getting into the industry, trying to catch, you know, the simple DTI, education, mortgages, real estate, you know, like thinking of marketing. You know, you put your own little spin and you move your things around and then you keep it that way. Yeah. And you forget what brought you the consistent content or engagement in the first place.
Exactly.
So really kind of took that and, you know, built a healthy relationships with a bunch of different referral partners as well, where they know that, you know, I constantly, hey, I got a client and they got a million questions. I'm like, let's rock. And then kind of understanding the audience and the engagement, most importantly. I think that's sales 101 is, you know, when you're talking to somebody, you know, are they looking for monthly payment? Are they looking for cash to close? Are they looking for that? identifying that first.
Yeah, because not
and then
everybody's
targeting.
the same. Not everybody,
Exactly.
not everybody has the same conditions. Not everybody decided not to buy the expensive car right before the purchase of the house.
Yep.
And not everybody, is not financially educated.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because you run into a situation where there's large institutions out there, not to name some names, but the mortgage process, I feel like no matter what day and age we're diving in technology, cannot be automated. Like as much as we try, people still want to talk to somebody.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that actually brings me to something that I've been listening to a lot. How about the algorithms?
Yep.
And all that situation.
Algorithm in terms of like clients and stuff?
Well, remember that, for example, I can't mention names. He's not going to do it. He has, principles. But Rocket something.
Rocket Mortgage, yeah.
Rocket Mortgage. I'm asking the question. He's not asking the question for video purposes, okay? So Rocket Mortgages, it's completely automated. I that's what I heard.
So they are they run a great model, obviously super successful. They used to be the number one mortgage. They just got bumped out actually earlier this year by a huge broker channel.
But is that broker the same as them or different stuff?
So they run similar models, but that broker channel, again, I'll name UWM. They kind of also employ other lenders and other brokers to still have that personal touch.
Okay.
It becomes so much more about margins and compressions and stuff like that. But I think what ends up happening is, the point of what I'm making is, in sales, you can't lose that personal touch.
No.
And I think that's where I've been blessed and having success with is, I'm picking up my phone Monday to Sunday, eyes open to eyes shut.
And you're very communicative.
Yeah. This is not a 9 to 5, leave me alone. Some large institutions, successful as can be, I don't have the lowest interest rates. I'll be the first one to say it.
Yeah.
But we balance that out with the communication, with the education, making sure the client comes to us and wants to put 40% down. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to put 40% down.
Yeah.
Let's do 20% down, save that extra money because we're going to refi in a year as rates progress. Or let's shift from going in FHA to conventional because of ABC. If you remember from the class, I always talked about, when you're thinking about getting a house, that 4 C's, right? Capacity, collateral, your credit, and then most importantly, what is your capital? Where's your money coming from? So I explain it like that when I'm talking to a client, in understanding the who, what, where, when, how. Like, who are you? Why are you buying a house? When are you trying to buy? Where are you trying to buy? And what? Like, how are you trying to buy?
Yeah.
And then bringing it down like that in the simplest terms, where you saw the engagement that we had in our class. I mean, you were dealing with raw first-time home buyers. And then I think a lot of times some people throw out acronyms and abbreviations, and then you're
just confusing
you're
people.
lost.
Yeah. And what I saw that happen there was that I felt like people felt like they were getting educated. They were getting information. And the questions were not those generic trying to figure out, what are you talking about questions? No, there were examples. Look, this is my situation.
No, I love that.
And I'm figuring out, based on what you're telling me, I should move this way. And now you can actually help them, because they leave there with like, okay, this is my next move.
Exactly.
And like that it was amazing to me, because I feel like a lot of people don't get that when they go to events, especially a free one, to say the least.
Yeah. Even, dude, not just events, man. I mean, it's just
in general,
phone call conversations. Like when I hear, or I'm usually the person that an agent's calling you. They're like, man, this lender is not talking and not communicating, and then I'll be like, well, talk to me. What do we got? What's the situation?
What do you think is also because we had a very big introduction to a lot of different style of people, very short span, not really business oriented, but profit oriented, to say a nice word.
So great point. I mean, listen, you gotta identify, what are you in this business for? The real estate, mortgage, marketing in general industry, it's a lucrative business. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love making homeownership possible, but dude, those billboards, those trucks, these shirts, it gets expensive.
Very.
You know what I mean?
I could tell you, I know it gets expensive.
But I think what ends up happening too, and you'll love this, is a lot of people talk about being passionate. A lot of people talk about, I'm passionate with helping people. I'm not passionate. I'm obsessed. Like I've got an obsession. Like, even if I wanted to stop and I know a client's difficult or a relationship is going sour, I'm going in because that client trusted me, my team, to help them buy a house.
Yep.
Therefore, it is my obligation
To help them,
to educate them, to help them, to we run into a situation where a rate's about to expire. I got it. We run into a situation where a client's tight on cash. We'll put the avenues together. And I think a lot of that you can't fake.
No.
And that's where my
that comes with knowledge
pours in. Yeah.
Because that comes with knowledge, right? That means that you are educated enough to see different avenues in resolving an issue for a client, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you come to me for something, whatever, let's say doing a billboard, and I say I could do it, but it's month 2, and you're still waiting for me to put the first billboard up. You're like, can you really do it?
Yeah.
Are you able to deliver? But if I'm able to provide you an answer within an hour, that means I have the connections and I have the knowledge and I know how to take care of something for you. And the same thing happens with mortgage people, right? You need to know the documentation to a level where you can answer those difficult questions.
Yeah, and you try to really make it, as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Where, talk to a client, I don't need your bank statements yet. I don't need your social, this, that. I just need your 2-year W-2s, a recent pay stub, and a driver's license, and that's it. We'll get all the other stuff later. My team will work on the other stuff later. We've got systems in place to automate your bank accounts where you log in once and I never have to ask for it again. It automatically updates. So I think it brings into those major points where it's the process, and I have an awesome team behind me. It's not me. The least I can do is put myself out there, pick up my phone, communicate, set expectations, build a major team around my sales side to help my partners, build your major team behind the scenes. I've got an awesome corporate team with underwriters and closers, who make me look good.
And that's what I was going to say next, right? Yeah. In order for you to be able to deliver on answering the calls and being on top of communication, you have to have a big team of people that are there, right? There's people call growing pains, right? When you're growing a business, sometimes the issue is you don't have enough people to take care of the client.
Yeah.
But when you're already established, you already passed through all those hurdles, and you can see it in the efficiency and how communication happens. You texted me 5 times to confirm this podcast.
Yeah.
So if he's confirming with me, which it should be the other way around, that means that you got not the time to be obviously talking to everybody in the world, but to make sure that whatever you're doing gets done.
Yeah, I'm a big. We could do a whole thing on business planning, but I met with all my agents and all my referral partners. Business planned, heavy goals. What's your expectations? What's your GCI? What do you want to hit? How many units did you do? How many calls did you make? What you doing that? I'm a big time block person.
Okay.
So I'm blessed. With a beautiful wife, 2 kids. And probably the toughest time, man, in 2020, 2021 was just bananas. There's no such thing as a balance of a work-life balance. Whoever tells you that,
thank you. Yeah. I finally heard someone else say what I always say. I don't know. I've been trying people.
There's no balance.
The people always talk to me about it. They always saying, "Oh, you need to find a balance. You need to figure out what." I'm like, listen. Right now, I'm just trying to grow a business. That doesn't grow by me sitting in my couch watching Netflix.
Yeah. So there's it's a tough balance. I mean, there's always growing pains. I mean, I've been with my wife for 15 years now.
Oh wow, congrats, man. That's an anomaly these days.
Yeah,
right?
It's brutal.
Yeah.
We push through with the kids. I try to stay as active as I am with the kids. She's a licensed loan officer with me too. She handles a lot of our Spanish clients.
Okay.
My assistant Spanish as well. So we kind of have that ambiance of that niche of clients as well. And I'm taking Spanish classes. Literally, it's just been so many years that I've pushed it that I run into relationships with my agents and my consumers, and they're like, "We just want to talk to you."
So, ¿hablas español?
We're working on it. Yeah,
I was trying to get him to answer, but he did. So yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I think it's time blocking, giving that opportunity of I'm gonna do this. I wake up 4 a.m. We hit the gym, we crank away, walk the dog, and
What time you go to sleep, brother?
I'm out by like 9. Yeah,
I'm up by 9, but because last night I stayed up to 4, so it's like
I'm a 9. Vice versa, 9 to 4.
I'm the opposite. I'm 4 to 9.
But we crank away the market. The market's where it's at. I mean, I do, like you said, a lot of the videos. I take an aggressive approach to educating the clients about market updates too, because the market right now is in that funky phase. While we're shooting this, January, February 2023, we kind of had a really unique year with 2022. But anytime something happens, we're getting updates on CPI, consumer price indexes, which measures how people spend their money, to PPIs, which measures how things are being produced, to employment, to unemployment.
So
a lot of factors.
Let's use this to educate someone, right? Because the cool thing about having you here is, and something that I've noticed that my podcast has gone to, besides the marketing part, is the education part, right?
Yeah.
Why are you, besides having the team, why are you such a successful loan officer when it comes to closing transactions, right? Because one thing is receiving transactions, but it's closing them, which is the important. Like if someone was
after the education, listen, we crank away. My closings go out quick. I guarantee a lot of our mortgage commitments 48, 72 hours. Super streamlined process. I've usually had your docs in advance. We'll pre-underwrite a lot of our files, with our underwriters, or we'll get the automated underwriting approvals. Again, my team is awesome with getting the docs, pushing them in. We have awesome underwriting teams as well, where they're getting our approvals quick. And communication's huge. So I always split a transaction or with a client. You're in 3 different phases, where you're just connecting with somebody to pre-approval, and then your pre-approval to your shopping and you found the house, and to when you're finding a house to your closing. So those 3 phases, right? And I always find that people tend to drop the ball on that first phase with that initial touch to that pre-approval.
Yeah.
Because, there's just no immediate return of income.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's no follow-up, and follow-up is huge. So I think it's that. And then when it's post-contract, I send email updates on everything in a transaction. I do a group text with the client, with the agent, and with my processor.
Teach me, please.
The entire time.
Teach me.
Dude, this business is not hard. I tell people, I'm like, I'm blessed, getting into this. My background I used to run a very successful law firm. Eventually got into it. I was going to law school, had my daughter. So
you were running it with other lawyers?
Correct.
Lawyers.
Yeah, so managing a team of attorneys. My strength comes from business planning and putting a lot of different operations and systems in place. And then eventually,
I bet you were killing it with the marketing too. Because
we're making a lot
for
of money.
lawyers, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
It's in the marketing and bringing in the customers. This resolving it, you already know.
So you're building relationships with doctors, building relationships with clients, building relationships, with different avenues to receive, specifically a PI firm. And then I was helping these clients to the point where I was getting their cases settled, and these clients were coming to me looking for help to buy a house, and I was referring them out, and then eventually, clients were complaining, this person not picking up the phone. I started giving them tips. I had no idea what I was talking about, and then eventually, I'm like, what, dude, I'm gonna take the class.
Where did you switch then?
When
and why?
This was about I would say 2017.
Okay.
So about 5 years ago now. 6 years ago.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years ago. So I ended up switching in because I got tired of. I've got that one name and it's my reputation. And if I'm recommend you somebody, or if I'm doing that and you're not living up to it, once, twice, 3 times, eventually I
you give up yourself, and then you're like,
no, like one of my greatest flaws at the same time is I like to do everything. I'm working on it. You know what I mean?
That's my problem. I've tried to give people work, but I always end up doing it myself.
Yeah.
So I understand.
So working on the balance, but eventually got my license, and then started helping people out while running the firm, still doing a couple deals here and there, and then I ended up having 3 months of closing about like 19, 20 transactions.
Wow.
And it was a lucrative business at the time, and I ended up diving in face first. Was blessed, had a good first year, and then good second year. Then COVID hit, and then business, obviously
blew up.
I was in a great situation, because obviously,
that's interesting.
Fishing.
Your first 3 years were good, and then you had a 4 or 5 amazing year, and now it's like, because of your reputation, you're gonna be able to continue going. But imagine if you would have started during COVID times, and you can't hold down the fort now.
Yeah, you know what? It's I tell people, because right now a lot of professionals are running into, they're going back. I mean, to their other full-time jobs, and they're going back to that. And I'll tell you, man, I mean, this business right now, there is a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of.
I think there's more opportunity now than back then.
100%. There's more professionals
now. And in
now.
any business too, because everybody runs out.
There's more professionals now, I can confidently tell you, that are looking for true, raw partnerships. I think these times also, well, not even just the opportunities. I think it's the truth of a partnership, right? Because when you're a CPA or a financial planner or an attorney or a title company or this, or an agent, there's only certain ways you can measure your business. Mm-hmm. And I think if it's somebody who truly cares about your success, whether you're an individual agent or a team leader, or you've got a team or you want to be a team, and I think leaning on some other professionals, not just lenders, but those that can truly, care about your success, busy market, slow market, are they doing trainings? I jump on with a lot of my teams, early morning trainings, 8:30 for half an hour.
I got to figure out I have 2 loan officers that are a friend of mine, was you and another one. He's been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Brother, I don't know how you guys do it. He also wakes up at 4, goes to the gym, walks the dogs. I think you might know him. At this point, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And I told my wife yesterday before we left for little lunch, I was like, hey, starting this week, I want to wake up at 6. I'm going to try 6. Let me start waking up at 6 and try to start the day instead of finishing it.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I didn't just, it starts off gradually. So it used to be, where you woke up at 8, mm-hmm. and then it was 7:30, mm-hmm. and it was 7, and then it was 6:30, and then 6, and then so on and so forth. So we ended up kind of just working our way around. But I moved down to Ocean County because I used to live up here around here, Bergen County, mm-hmm. and then about a year and a half now we moved down there. Great ambiance for the kids, awesome school systems. My daughter is a beast swimmer.
Okay.
So we kind of sort of got forced to it because my wife ended up working for a establishment simultaneously while working with me. So time shifted, and you go to work and I'll take care of the kids. So I'm up. If I don't hit my gym in the morning, I'm never getting to it.
I can see that. You could, when people work out, you can see it. You can physically see it.
If I don't get it,
when you don't work out, you can also see it.
But we try to do it. I mean,
but it's a good balance. And when I mean balance is because you wake up early. By the time your client is hitting you up, because
I'm writing good afternoons by 9 a.m. I was just messing with somebody. I'm literally writing good afternoons like 8:39.
Right, because at that time,
up for 5 hours.
You already worked out. Your mind is already clean. Your fog in the morning, because everybody has a fog. You have what's yours? Mine is an hour. You're like 30 minutes to an hour.
What's that?
In the morning when you wake up, that you need to start the systems.
Oh, I would say about 30 minutes.
Me, it's like an hour before. If I receive 5 calls before that, it's like, dude, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want to answer. It's I can't answer you because I'm gone.
No, I'll do it. Because my gym opens at 5. I've got a full blown home gym set up. During COVID, I splurged.
Okay,
but and I literally have, my house is a mother-daughter. The entire daughter side, I ripped everything off, and it's the gym setup.
Oh, wow.
But, dude, I got lazy, not being motivated, seeing people working out, that. So
there's no competition by yourself.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's no competition there either, but,
Well, I get it, but at least, you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up doing it. Now my wife, works out with me too in the morning. We crank away. She pushes me doing cardio.
Nice.
And we do it. But honestly, going back to this, I mean, talking about partnerships, man. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I think a lot of professionals, to be honest, some of them, just learned a certain way too during COVID. Because we got a huge wave of professionals during COVID. Everybody was, thinking, this industry was going to be a get rich and whatever.
Especially when you had that backup COVID money, because you got a check coming in, you can splurge.
So now I think we're going back to the true raw relationships and partnerships and what can you offer and not just that, there's that pay to play. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm not a fan. This is like a fraternity. I'm not paying you to join and for me to be friends with you so you can give me a client. You're working with me because of my communication, because I can close on time, because I have awesome products and awesome rates.
Yeah.
And if that's something that we simultaneously have the ability, you know, to earn that client's business and that honor. And, you know, when I get a client, it is my motto of a client for life. You know, that client's not buying a house once. That client's buying a house numerous times.
Yeah,
they call it the
times.
7 Ds, right? Where it's like diaper, divorce, you know, diamonds. And it's true. You know, a lot of my clients who bought with me in like 17 and 18 are all hitting me up for cash out refis, all hitting me up to they've sold their house.
Relationships.
And I tell, you know, that's one thing I can confidently say is that when we close on that client, we've got that client. Even if I can't help them, you know, I used to have a credit consulting company too. While I was working at the firm, you know, a lot of our clients tended to have not the greatest credit. You know, they got hurt, they couldn't work, they started splurging on their cards. And then eventually I ended up dissolving the credit repair company. Now I just do it to my clients for free and guide them on how to do it. And I think it's more of just adding value to your clients and having that ability to show them, dude, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not because you're buying and that client who's buying $100,000 home and that client who's buying $1 million home is getting the same service. The same service the CEO gets, the same service the janitor gets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the education, with the communication, with the understanding what that client is looking for, and then we simultaneously just target it and take it from there.
Definitely. And that's important, you know, like when you take care of the client, when the client's happy, because they refer you other business.
Absolutely.
They refer other people. And especially when you're well taken care of, like when there's quality, quantity, and communication, like match 3 C's there. When you have all that, you can, it's like, don't go there because you're not going to get that. Come here. Like we were talking at the beginning, right? Yes, you can work with the big institutions, but the big institutions are not going to pick up an email after 5:01 because they're closed. Or we'll close next week because the paperwork wasn't done properly. So now if there's a line, now you got to go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
totally.
that's what people love about that one-on-one business. When you get to talk to the owner of that business, they care. They want to deliver so you're happy because that's my business, right? And like you were saying, a lot of professionals came in, but I feel like, in my personal opinion, because I'm also having that's happening in my industry, I'm getting a lot more calls now than I was getting before, because a lot of the people that came in the industry when COVID was when the C word, because we're in YouTube, when the C word was enacted at that time, and they were in business and they were like, oh, cool, I could do it because they were getting 1,500s.
Fishing in the barrel.
And
that's true too. Stimulus.
If you were in the city in New York, you were getting 600 a week. You were getting a nice check. So it's like, okay, I could go try this out and see if it works. But you didn't give it the same attention, right? Because it's not the same needing a client and delivering for a client. Like if you don't have goals in your mind, if you don't have expectations, if you don't set expectations, then you're just doing it for the buck. A lot of people are doing it for the buck, and today they have to go back to work.
Yeah,
I didn't have to go back to work because I started in COVID, by the way.
Yeah,
I started 3 weeks before COVID hit. I started this business.
I love it, man. I mean, you're doing your thing.
Yeah,
we're cranking away. I think it's important of us, again, providing value to the community. You know, and having that understanding to our clients that you have options out there, and it's best, you know, not just because, you know, you're what's Domingo say, your Uncle Pepe or this guy or that guy uses one guy, you know, they may or may not click with you.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, you know, where you know, your cousin or your uncle or your friend, you know, who's a real estate agent, again, you want to feed them that business simultaneously just because, but you just truly want to find out what works for you as the consumer, and then work your way from there. You know, is that person picking up the phone? Do they have the right programs? What's their reputation? You know, a lot of times when you're placing your offers too, and you're working sometimes with some certain institutions, that plays a crucial role as well, because when you're working with a licensed professional and they have a solid rep and they have a solid name, you know, and that listing agent sees that pre-approval, dude, they're getting that phone call. Yeah. You know what I mean? I call all the time. Everyone does it. There's no secret to what loan officers. You call a listing agent. I'm a little aggressive. So I'm like, hey, man, what's up? What do we got? You know what I mean? How can we make this work? I'll give you a mortgage pre-approval or a mortgage commitment in 72 hours, if not faster, before we're out of attorney review. I'm confident in our offerings. I'm confident in my agents' partnerships, and I'm confident also in my team delivering. So I can simultaneously talk confidently because the systems that we've built. And I think that's the importance of it because, you know, sometimes when you're using some certain establishments and they may or may not have had a bad taste in their mouth, it's got nothing to do with the offer.
Yeah.
And it's got everything to do with how you're well delivered. And that plays a crucial role because, dude, a lot of the times I will get the seller who is buying to leave their current lender and use us while I'm still representing the buyer on their purchase. Because of the communication, the on-time closing, the listing agent knows where we're at. We get the okay with the buyer's agent to let the seller's attorney work good.
You're on top of the game.
So they catch that, and you can't make that up, man. I don't care if you've got leads. I don't care if you have you do the cliche pay to play. You do all that stuff. If you pick up the phone, if you communicate, and you set the expectation with your clients and care for them, you're going to be successful in this,
definitely,
no matter what market.
Definitely, and you know, brother, where can they reach out to you? Where can they communicate?
Yep.
I know that for that you have
Not hard.
let me show. Do you have it on today?
Oh, the popple? No.
Oh, he didn't bring it, but
got the popple
right away.
So again, obviously my whole slogan's Got Mortgages. You know, my website, gotmortgages.com.
The truck, gotmortgages.com. 2 trucks, right? You said.
Yeah, I've got 2 trucks, got a few billboards.
Those
now.
trucks just do
They do routes, Middlesex, Union, and Somerset County.
But is it something else that they do deliveries or something?
Yeah. It's a bread and a beverage company. One's a bread company, one's a beverage company.
Interesting.
And they hit the routes.
And it's not just highways. They go into towns.
Local. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you gotten do you have that number?
Not yet. I've got my popple QR on there.
Okay. What about the phone number? Is it separate from your number or is it same number?
No, same. Okay. Most of my engagements come through. Yeah, I mean, Got Mortgages.
But it's brand awareness. Real quick, so I can bring it right before we close out, right? It's brand awareness, right?
Totally.
Because at this point and Domingo was the one who taught me this, and it was interesting because he said people need about 7 verifications of communication.
Yeah.
So you need to see me with Domingo, for example. You need to see me on Instagram. You need to see me on a billboard. You need to see me on a bus. And then by that time, you're like, wow, this guy, who is this, right? Yeah. Let me call him. Yeah. And then when you call me, I sound legit. I sound confirmed. It's like, okay. And then your cousin calls you and says, yeah, I worked with him before. So at that point, it's like, you're so secure that they want to work with you.
Yeah, I hope I can get to that point. I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
But we
6 years in business, right?
We're doing it. We're cranking away. But to be completely honest, man, I truly like helping people.
Yeah.
And I think that's not something that you could fake.
No.
And I'm not doing it for the money. The money's coming. I've been blessed. I've passed what I'd make in the law firm and then some, and it was well over, $500,000. And we're cranking away. We're doing our thing. And but I think it's just the true honesty of, hey, I got your phone number from X, Y, and Z when my phone rings. If you call me, I don't have a voicemail. It goes to my office.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that purposely. If I'm here right now, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. My calls are not getting missed. It's going to my office. The communication is being established. I've got my team of assistants on from 8 to 9 p.m.
The person who's on the other line feels like they were answered to and they didn't get a voicemail.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if it wasn't by you at that time.
Yeah.
They got answered.
Yeah. So, and I think we built systems around that, most importantly to take care of the client. And I think that's the God's honest truth is we take care of the clients. We make sure that you put your trust in us to put you into that house. Money's going to come.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Really appreciate it. Good thing about it is, you talk about team building. You talked about helping people out and the importance of it, the real reason why you do it. And at the end of the day, there's the 3 messages that I take away from this podcast is 1, the team, right? You have a big team behind you and that's why you're efficient, and also customer service. Customer service is top of mind. And anybody who wonders why businesses grow, it's because of customer service and teams, right? It takes time. If you started during COVID, like I did, right? Now is when I'm getting around to like, okay, I need to hire someone.
Yeah.
Now, but it's third year. There was a lot of sacrifices and a lot of things that you do behind the scenes in order to get to where you are today. And, he did it 6 years in the business. I got something to look forward to. And don't ever be afraid to invest. Even when it looks like you can't, don't ever be afraid to invest.
Yeah.
I always upgrade my gear even when I can afford it. But the thing is, that's what takes you to that step above.
Absolutely.
Someone's going to watch this podcast. Someone's going to see me working with him. Someone, it's going to get the door open for you. But for that, you have to invest time, money, and resources. And I just want to, that's the value I get out of it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, brother, for being here.
No problem, man. Thanks, guys.
Peace.